Radha Kanta Sudaya Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prahladananda Jai Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 62. The meeting of Usha and Aniruddha. I'll actually read the summary. This chapter recounts the meeting of Aniruddha and Usha, and also Aniruddha's battle with Banasura. Of the 100 sons of King Bali, the oldest was Banasura. Who was King Bali? Who was his father? Bali Maharaj. Anyone ever hear of Bali Maharaj? Who's that? Who's Bali Maharaj's father? And who's Virochan's father? Yes. So, Banasura was who in relation to Prahlada Maharaj? The great-grandson, yes. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva who favored Bana so much that even demigods like Indra would serve him. Banasura once satisfied Lord Shiva by playing musical instruments with his 1,000 hands while Shiva dances Tandava Nritya. In response, Shiva offered Bana whatever benediction he chose, and Bana asked Lord Shiva to become the guardian of his city. One day when Bana was feeling the urge to do battle, he told Lord Shiva, "Except for you in the whole world, there is no warrior strong enough to fight me. Therefore, these 1,000 arms you have given me are merely a heavy burden." Angered by these words, Lord Shiva replied, "Your pride will be crushed in the battle when you meet my equal. Indeed, your chariot will fall to the ground broken." Banasura's daughter Usha once had an encounter with a lover in her sleep. Several nights in a row this occurred, till one night she failed to see him in her dreams. She suddenly awoke, speaking aloud to him in a state of agitation. When she noticed her maidservants around her, she felt embarrassed. Usha's companion Chitralekha asked her who she had been addressing, and Usha told her everything. Hearing Usha's dream lover, Chitralekha tried to relieve her friend's distress by drawing pictures of Gandharvas and other celestial personalities, as well as various men of the Vrishni dynasty. Chitralekha asked Usha to pick out the man she had seen in her dreams, and Usha pointed to the picture of Aniruddha. Chitralekha, who had mystic powers, knew at once that the young man her friend had pointed out was Lord Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha. Then, using her mystic powers, Chitralekha flew through the sky to Dwarka, found Aniruddha, and brought him back with her to Sonitapura, Banasura's capital, where she presented him to Usha. Having obtained the man of her dream desires, Usha began serving him very affectionately within her private quarters, which was supposed to be strictly off limits to men. After some time, the female guards of the inner palace noticed symptoms of sexual activity on Usha's person, and they went to Banasura to inform him. Greatly disturbed, Banasura rushed to his daughter's apartment with many armed guards, and to his great surprise saw Aniruddha there. As the guards attacked him, Aniruddha took up his club and succeeded in killing a few before the powerful Bana could capture him with his mystic Nagapashra ropes, filling Usha with lamentation. So the first text, there's no purport. So I'm just going to read the story. King Parikshit said, the best of the Yadus married Banasura's daughter Usha, and as a result, a great fearsome battle occurred between Lord Hari and Lord Sankara. Please explain everything about this incident, O most powerful of mystics. Sukadeva Swami said, Bana was the eldest of the 100 sons, father of the great saint Bali Maharaj, who gave the whole world, earth in charity to Lord Hari when he appeared as Vamanadeva. Banasura was born from Bali's semen, became a great devotee of Lord Shiva. His behavior was always respectable, and he was generous, intelligent, truthful, and firm in his vows. The beautiful city of Shanitapura was under his domination. Because Lord Shiva had favored him, the very demigods waited on Banasura like menial servants. Once when Shiva was dancing his Tandava Nritya, Banu especially satisfied the Lord by playing a musical accompaniment with his 1,000 arms. The Lord and the Master of all created beings, the compassionate refuge of his devotees, gladdened Banasura by offering him the benediction of his choice. Bana chose to have him, Lord Shiva, as the guardian of his city. Banasura was intoxicated with his strength. One day when Lord Shiva was standing beside him, Banu touched the Lord's lotus feet with his helmet, which shone like the sun, and spoke as follows to him. Banu said, O Lord Madhavadeva, I bow down to you, the spiritual master in control of the world. You are like the heavenly tree that fulfills the desires for those whose desires are unfulfilled. These 1,000 arms you bestowed upon me have become merely a heavy burden. Besides you, I find no one in the three worlds worthy to fight. Purport. According to the Acharyas, Banasura's subtle implication here is this. And so when I've defeated you, Lord Shiva, my world conquest will be complete, my desire for battle satisfied. Eager to fight with the elephants who ruled the directions, O primeval Lord, I went forth, pulverizing mountains with my arms, which were itching for battle. Yet even those great elephants fled in fear. Hearing this, Lord Shiva became angry and replied, your flag will be broken. Fool, when you have done battle with the one who is my equal, that fight will vanquish your conceit. Purport. Lord Shiva could have immediately chastised Banasura, personally destroyed his pride, but since Banasura had been such a faithful servant of his, Shiva did not do so. Thus advised, unintelligent Banasura was delighted. The fool went home, O king, wait for that which Lord Girisha had predicted, the destruction of his prowess. Purport. Here Banasura is described as Kudi, having bad intelligence, and Kumati, foolish, because he completely misunderstood the actual situation. This demon was so arrogant that he was convinced that no one could defeat him. He was delighted to hear that someone as powerful as Lord Shiva would come to fight with him and satisfy his itching for battle. Even though Shiva had said that this person would break Bana's flag and destroy his prowess. The demon was too foolish to take this statement seriously and eagerly awaited the fight. present moment, materialistic people are delighted by many unprecedented facilities for sense gratification. Although it is clear that death, both individual and collective, is quickly approaching them. Modern sense gratifiers are oblivious to their inevitable destruction. As stated in the Bhagavatam 2:1-4, Pashyanapi napashyati. Even though their imminent destruction is apparent, they are too blind to see it, being intoxicated by sex enjoyment and family attachment. Still, Nibbana was intoxicated with his material prowess and could not believe that he was about to be cut down to size. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Budaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Bhacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskajade Sitarane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Taraham Vishita Kuran Samsre Shunradamam Shipramyad Vesprama Shubham Asri Shreva Yonishu. That those who are envious and mischievous and who are the lowest among mankind, I perpetually cast into the lower species of life. Asram Yoni Apanam Buddha Janmani Janmani Mamba Prapyaya Vakuntiya Chitoyantyana Gidim. Obtaining the lower species of life, one gradually sinks down and down into the most abominable species of existence. Trividam Narakasya Varnashtamatmanaha Kama Krodha Tata Lobhas Tasman Etam Prayam Jayat. There are three gates leading to hell, namely lust, anger, and greed, and every sane man should try to become free from these gates which lead to the degradation of the self. Or as Krishna says in another place, Krishna repeats this in different ways, that Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsam Sandaste Shubhajayate Sandat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodha Bhajayate Krodha Bhavati Samoha Samohat Smriti Vibramsa Smriti Bramsa Purinashat Purinashat Naprashati. That the spirit soul, when he has nothing to do, when he's bored, and he looks around for something to do. Or as it said in the Bhagavatam, that originally Brahma created man. And since man had nothing to do, he became bored. So then Brahma created a woman, and then he was fully engaged. So when we have nothing to do, we look around. That's why they have so many windows, shopping, so many stores have windows with all kinds of paraphernalia. So that people can look around, and then if something catches our eye, then by the mercy of the illusory energy, we develop the inspiration called lust. And we think that's love. I'm feeling this in my heart. It's putting my heart on fire. It must be love. That's what they tell me it is. It's like you're in a fire, and you're burning, and you're thinking, oh, this is quite nice, it's quite warm in here. Maybe they can turn the heat up a little bit. So, from lust comes greed, actually. That if we like something, and it actually satisfied our desire temporarily, then the feeling of desire increases, doesn't decrease. If it's something we enjoy, then we become even more lusty for it. And when we become more lusty for it, then we become more in anxiety for it. And when we can't satisfy our desire anymore, we can only eat so much ice cream, and then we become frustrated. And when we become frustrated and angry, then we're put into a delusion. And then all our frustrations, all our failures, we create a story behind it where we're the victim, and someone else is at fault. Someone has caused this unfortunate situation upon an innocent person, me, for no reason whatsoever. I'm completely innocent. Everyone else is at fault. Therefore, they write books like why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people, and converse, why good things happen to bad people. So the story goes, written by one rabbi. His name was Krishna, Rabbi Krishna. I'm not making this up. His explanation was that actually bad things happen to good people because God has become senile. He's so old, he's become senile, and therefore he doesn't really control things anymore. He's trying to clutch the earth, but he has arthritis, he has rheumatism and arthritis, so his hand is shaking. Can't even control the earth anymore. But the angels have gotten together and they've decided that soon this old man God will retire, and one of the younger angels should take over and things should go better in the future. So this is the story of the explanation why bad things happen to good people. But actually the explanation is that there are no good people. Everyone is bad. As I said yesterday, everyone has come here as a thief to steal from Krishna. And therefore, amongst the thieves, we're trying to find an honest thief. And when the thief gets punished by the police force, called into nature, and put into illusion, then part of that illusion is to think that we're good, we're a good thief, we're the only honest thief. Or that actually there is no God, therefore there's nothing to steal. I can't steal, because ultimately everything is up for grabs. If you go to a department store, and you enter into the department store early enough, before it's even open, and there's no one there, and you decide that there's no one here, it must be free for everyone to take. There's no proprietor. As Krishna says, asatyam apratisham de jagadohara anishwaram aparashparam samudhyam kimaya kamahaitaka. They say, and who's they? The asuras, the demons. And who are the demons? Pravitim jan, vritim jan, jananavada, or asura, nisacham namparam, nisocham nampachachara, nisakam didite. Those who say, those who have no pravitim, they have no idea what's to be done. And the vritim, they also don't have any idea what's not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor truthfulness, nor proper behavior is found in them. In other words, they have no guide except for their senses. Whatever they feel like, that's what they do. It's like a man's walking down the street and he sees an attractive woman, and immediately the senses tell him, go get her, she's the one. But she's walking next to a man, she has a dot on her forehead, and the intelligence says, wait a second, she has a dot on her forehead, and she has a man next to her. There's some remote possibility she might even be married. And then the mind says, don't listen to that faulty intelligence. He's never studied very much, he doesn't know that nowadays, the only rule is that if it feels good, then you do it. That's the absolute truth. So then the intelligence said, well, really, I read some books some years ago. It was called the Bhagavad something. And it said that's not true. And the mind says, don't listen to this foolish intelligence. He can't even remember the name of the book. What is the value of what he's telling you? So then the soul is hearing this dialogue between his intelligence and his mind, and he has to make a decision. So he decides, since the intelligence is not very strong, can't give any good arguments, just have some kind of sentiment. So he decides, oh my dear intelligence, why don't you do something useful instead of talking about some ancient book that no one listens to anymore anyhow. So think of a way of meeting her. So the intelligence says, yes, whatever you order me to do, because I'm your subordinate. So what you should do is you should write her a letter and tell her she's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. And in very small letters, be truthful, you write down in the last 2 weeks. Tell her you're madly in love with her, you can't live without her, and that she should meet you in such and such a place at such and such time. And you'll give her the sun, you'll give her the moon, and if she's especially nice to you, you'll give her a couple extra stars. But don't sign the letter, because that man next to you is twice as big as you are. So this is called lusty intelligence. Influence the spirit soul to acquire a false ego in which to identify itself with the mind and senses, for sense gratification. So Vanasura is living in a world of illusion. He's thinking that no one can defeat him, and that someone, even though Lord Shiva, who he calls Mahadev, the Lord of the universe, the greatest of the demigods, was wrong. That someone equal to Lord Shiva will come along and smash his pride to pieces, and his flag of victory will no longer fly. But out of illusion, being overestimating himself, he didn't even take Lord Shiva's statement seriously. Instead, he was looking forward to getting into a fight with someone as powerful as Lord Shiva. So this is the problem with lust. Bhakshavegam, Krodasavegam, Jivavegam, Udrapastavegam. If one is not Krishna conscious, then one will be forced to follow the dictation of lust and anger, and be further put into illusion. It's not that one can be an illusion and act in illusion, that's perfectly all right, because then we'll forget what reality is. And one's intelligence will become dim, and one will be forced to punasharvata. That one will be forced to do the same thing over and over again. That one has done unlimited times, and one has gotten the same result. The same problems, the same unhappiness, the same illusion, the same disappointment, the same frustration. But Maya says, this time it's going to be different. You've learned your lesson. This time it's going to be unlimited happiness, which will go on forever. It's just like a dog. A dog comes to the table to eat from the table. The master doesn't want the dog to eat from the table. The dog is persistent, so the master takes a newspaper, rolled up newspaper, and smacks the dog. And the dog runs away. A few minutes later, the dog forgets that he got smacked, smells the food, goes back to the table again, tries to jump on the table, the master takes a magazine, and whack! And he runs away. And this is repeated, goes on repeatedly. The dog, his memory, due to the lust that he's experiencing, forgets and thinks, this time I'll be successful. Although he's getting smacked every time, he's thinking, this time it's going to be different. I'll be greeted warmly by the master and he'll feed me. Although he's always getting smacked one time after another. So that's the nature of material existence. And one who thinks that he can overcome the material existence, that this time it's going to be different. So Krishna has arranged the material world in such a way as to suit the conditioned soul's madness. Because that's what madness is. Madness is, you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're getting the same result. And this time you think, I'm going to do the same thing, I'm going to get a different result. So everyone is mad in the material world. For that reason, one has to go to Krishna after leaving this body. Generally speaking, one has to take a rest. In the womb of the mother, if one is in this earth planet nowadays for 9 months, and if he's lucky enough not to be killed by the mother, then he takes birth in this world, and he forgets what had happened in his last lifetime. How he tried so hard to be successful, and he finally was successful in his mind. Then everything was taken away from him, and he was put back into another womb of a mother to start all over again. But he forgets. Otherwise, how could one possibly go on, remembering that life after life, I've been defeated by the material energy. In this life, I'll be defeated too. So there's no impetus for material happiness, for material advancement. And in modern age, because in this modern age, there's no dharma, there's no one to enforce dharma. It's whatever you feel like, you just do it. It's gotten to the point where people have become so crazy. They feel they can, just by imagining themselves to be someone, they become that person. Not only in the movies, but people become so deluded that even when they're so-called awake and they're not watching a movie, they're imagining there's something that they're not. Of course, everyone's imagining that they're not who they're not. Everyone's imagining that they're this gross and subtle material body. But one reporter went to the University of Oregon, at one university, and he asked the people there, because he was around my height, maybe 74 or whatever, 79 centimeters, whatever it may be. And white American reporter, and he told the people there, the students, that if I told you I was a 6 foot, from the feet, 2 meter high Chinese woman basketball player, would you believe me? And at least on the video, all these students would say, yeah, if you feel like that, of course we'll believe you, we'll accept. Whoever you feel you are, we accept. So does that mean that if he went to China, to the women's basketball team, and said, my dear coach, I'm only a meter and something high, but I'm imagining myself to be at 2 meters, and I'm a woman, a basketball player, Chinese, please accept me on your team. Would that be the criteria for making the women's basketball team in China? But these students at the University of Oregon, they're accepting him as a Chinese woman, 6 feet, 2 meters high. He can't do anything. He's just living in a dream. And he's thinking the dream is as real as it can get. So therefore, Banasura is living in a dream because, as he says here, his arms are just itching to fight. And he's thinking that I'm so powerful that anyone I come and fight will I'll automatically win, and I'll finally resign. I can retire as the universe's heavyweight champion. So this means that when we forget who Lord Shiva is, when we're in illusion, then we lose our intelligence also. And then we just do the same thing over and over again. But in this case, he's just wanting to fight again. But in our case, we just go through birth after birth after birth, with the same expectation of peace and happiness, and then finally we obtain the real destination. Last lifetime I was in India, this lifetime in Oz, in Never Never Land. And all my wishes will be fulfilled by the Wizards of Oz. But then we have to leave this body shortly and then take birth again in some other place. Who knows? Maybe, as Prabhupada said, it's not good to have a very nice house. because you become attached to it. And you become attached to the house, then the only thing you'll get is you'll come back to the same house, but not necessarily as a human being in the house. You may come back as a mouse in the house. Prabhupada was walking by in Switzerland, a house, and he saw in the house, on the tree, practically every leaf on the tree was exactly in its place. Switzerland is very organized, and the trees in Switzerland are also very organized. The lawn was perfectly mowed, the house was perfectly painted, everything was perfect. So Prabhupada said this was very unfortunate, because probably the man living in the house, if he's done impious activities, in his next lifetime he'll have to come back as a tree. In his house, of course. So is that worth? I mean, at least if you have a house, that even if it's not the perfect house, it'll protect you from winter or from excessive heat. But if you come back as a tree, you stand there naked, and the only covering you ever get is the snow there. And you have to endure the heat, and people write on you, big love, big heart, Johnny loves Mary. That's carved right in your heart. You don't love Mary, you don't love Johnny either. Therefore, this pastime, why is this pastime, this romantic pastime, Usha and Aniruddha? Why is this in the Bhagavatam, especially in the 10th canto? Doesn't Aniruddha have any intelligence? Why does he get involved in this love affair? Of course, part of it is to see how Banasura, although he was so powerful, and he even had Lord Shiva as his personal guardian, he gets defeated. Then no one comes out successful in this material world, actually. No one can win and no one can break even, life after life. And of course, if you give a lecture like this, people will become very disturbed. Why is this person so pessimistic? Why is he so insensitive? Why does he deny love in this world, romance? Even there was one devotee, very prominent devotee, in the early 60s, he was even the editor of Back to Godhead. But one day he left the movement and started to criticize Srila Prabhupada, saying that he denies love. So the actual truth was that he had a boyfriend he wanted to live with. And Prabhupada said, if you want to live with your boyfriend, you can't be the editor of Back to Godhead. So he left for his boyfriend. And then he started to criticize Prabhupada. He denies true love in this world. Later on, he wanted to come back and resume some service. But Prabhupada said, yes, you can come back, you're welcome, but not with your boyfriend. You have to follow the principles. Therefore, as long as one is not following the regular principles of freedom, freedom from what? Freedom from illusion, then one will be forced life after life to imagine that this life is going to be different. Now I have 1,000 arms, no one can defeat me, and I'm going to be the heavyweight champion of the universe, but someone will come along and knock off your pride, one way or the other. Doesn't matter how powerful one is, how successful one is, how intelligent one is, no one can defeat material energy. Daiviyeshu Gurumai, Mama Maya Duratya, Mameva Ye Prabhajante, Mayame Taranti. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who take shelter of me can easily overcome it. So Banasura was a devotee of Lord Shiva, but he was defeated. Hiranyakashipu took shelter of Lord Brahma and got 100 benedictions from him, so he wouldn't die. Yet still, he developed an acute problem in his stomach and left his body. The 100 benedictions didn't save him from stomach problems. So what to speak of our poor selves? Just like the devotees, practically speaking, the devotees, we never hear of any devotee dying from starvation. But many devotees die from overeating. So even we can surpass the laws of natural nature. Because the devotees die thinking prasadam and go back to the spiritual world, so that's not inauspicious. But others who try to defy the laws of material nature are always defeated. That's what the word parava is, tavadabodha jata, evan krinasata atmatatvam, evan kriyatavadi dhammanovai, karmatmata yena sharira bandhaha. Now one is said to be defeated, paravas, by the illusory energy, as long as one is not inquiring about the absolute truth. Because every activity what we do will color our mind. And as long as our material mind isn't covered, then our consciousness will be unclear. We won't be able to see things properly. And as long as our consciousness is unclear, we'll have to take one body after another. Therefore, the only solution is that evam manakaram pravan pranyukte avidyapan vipadiyamane pritirna yavan maya vasudeve nimochite deha yogena tadva. That as long as one is full with these upadis, these false designations, as long as we don't simply identify ourselves as the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna and actually perform service in that mood, then we'll be full with all these upadis. Evam karma prasannyamukte avidyatmanu padiyamanu. So there's all avidya. Our avidya is all these false designations we have, which cloud our consciousness. So as long as we have these avidyas, and evam pritirna yavan maya vasudeva, as long as we haven't actually developed our love for Vasudeva, then nimunchite, there's no liberation, deha yogena tadva. We'll have to take birth, one birth after another, until finally we actually realize that there's no reason to struggle with your nature to become something that we can never become. Instead, we should simply try to develop love for Vasudeva, try to develop the attitude of service towards Krishna and his devotees, and this way actually get out of the entanglement of whoever we might be, of the repeated birth and death, which is our real problem of life. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? And then the next part is very romantic, so please come back tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you for the lecture. Actually, so when Shiva was himself guarding the city, how could Kirtan, I was obviously less empowered in all the yogic powers, how could she bring Aniruddha in?
I guess Lord Shiva was asleep. It was nighttime. Well, Lord Shiva's Mahadev is all powerful, but anyhow, this is the pastime. I have no idea. There are different degrees of mystic power, but this is how it's arranged. Somewhere or another, Aniruddha was supposed to be with Usha, and so Chitralekha was able to do it. When you meet Lord Shiva, you can ask him. I have no idea. Yes?
In one of the translations, it is said that Lord Shiva told there will be one equal to me will come and destroy your pride. But actually, Lord Shiva himself knows that Lord Krishna he is the servant of Krishna. But again, while when it gives a contradiction to our people saying that Lord Shiva is equal to Krishna, so how do we take it?
Well, in the material world, Lord Krishna is empowers Lord Shiva to be equal to him. In other words, Krishna sometimes empowers his devotee to do even more than he can do. As he empowered Arjuna to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, defeat his opponents. So if Krishna wants, he can empower his devotee. Like Prabhupada said that Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only spread Krishna consciousness within India, but he empowered Prabhupada to spread it all over the world. So does that mean that Prabhupada is more powerful than Lord Chaitanya? As an instrument for Lord Chaitanya, he could do even more than Lord Chaitanya around the world. But he understood it was just an instrument. But apparently, externally, he was given the credit for spreading Krishna consciousness around the world. So when Vanasura, when I guess Narada Muni as usual goes to tells the devotees where they're wondering what happened to Aniruddha in Dwarka, and Narada Muni goes and tells them that actually he's been kidnapped by Chitraleka, taken to the city of Shonitapura, and there Vanasura has captured him, and then they come to fight. So what does Lord Shiva fight against? He winds up fighting against Lord Krishna. Practically they're almost equals in the fight, but he loses. Almost equal, not quite. Anything else? Even sometimes Lord Ramachandra says sometimes praise to Lord Shiva when he has to fight against Radha. Then we think, well, he must be subordinate to Lord Shiva, but actually he's just his pastime, playing the role of a human being. Anything else? Thank you very much. Krantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Jai.
Kirtan, Adelaide. Leave a like and subscribe.